Do you like darkness? Guys, what's up, and welcome back to another Fire Emblem character guide. This week we're going to be doing a special character that kind of likes darkness, in case you hadn't, not figured it out already. So this week we're also going to be trying a bit more editing with a few more structured area. I mean, as you've noticed probably over time, I split up my character guide into three basic parts: the growth rates, the classes and skills, and then the support stuff, right? So I'm sorry, my hands are just going like meh. But this week, I'm going to be more specific about it, outline the areas where it's going to come in with a bit more editing, so it's going to be really fancy, it's going to be great. I mean, so get your expectations really high. And then prepare yourself for disappointment, because it's not going to be that good. Anyway, guys, let's take a look at our character for today. So if you didn't see this coming, you have a serious mental problem, because not only did I mention her quotes multiple times, I also specifically said that I'm going to be doing Tharja, or as I like to call her in her Japanese name, Tharja. I already said I was going to be doing her in my last video, so either you don't watch enough of my videos, or you're just not really paying attention. In any case, I'm doing Tharja, and let's get on with the video. So she's like a dark mage. She's kind of a creep sometimes, but she's funny as heck, and I actually really like her. I had my unit marry her in the first run through, and I didn't really regret it at all. It was great. Actually, I have a theme for Google Chrome where like a picture of those two. So I really like the pairing, and if you want, I'll send the Google Chrome theme to you. I also have it on Twitter. So that's right, guys. I'm also on Twitter at not XepherGames, Zephyr Lord. Okay. If you want to follow me, go right ahead. I'll follow you back and whatever. I'm going to do a video about more of this stuff later. But anyway, for right now, let's focus on the character Tharja. So she's a really interesting character, and she's fun to play with. Unfortunately, she's not the strongest character in the game. She can be pretty powerful, especially if you're not like playing the high-level game, but I like to maximize my characters, min-maxing it's called, and she's not perfect for that, but she's still an awesome character, and I'd like to show you the best way to get the most usage. You know what I mean. Let's go.
Aha, so here are her growth rates. Now I've structured them a little differently this time, so I'd like to go over how I changed it before we start looking at them. Now as you can see, there are some big bold lines in addition to the little ones. Those bold lines indicate the different class sets, as in the Dark Mage, Knight, and Archer class sets, so it's easy to differentiate which classes go to which. Also, accordingly, since the Dark Mage is the first tier, it is off to the left, and each of the two promoted classes are indented to show you what the promotions are. So also, as you notice, there are a lot more dashes now. If there's a dash, it means either it is luck, which is useless anyway, or it is the same as the pre-promoted class, because there's a lot of similarities. So like for instance, in the Knight class, the general has the same HP, strength, magic, skill, speed, and defense growth rates. The only difference is the resistance, which has plus 10 instead of plus 5. It's not plus 10 in addition to the plus 5, it's plus 10 total. Alright, so let's look at her growth rates real quick. HP is fairly decent. It's with the classes she has, almost all of them give at least plus 45, so she's going to have an excellent HP at the end of the game. Strength is actually pretty decent for a magic user, and can be extremely effective as a Knight class, because she'll have actually 50 strength. It's pretty dang good. Magic, 45. Perfectly acceptable, no problems. As a Dark Mage or a Sorcerer, she will be very high power. Skill is rather low. That is probably her weakest asset. So really, when you look at it, it does make some sense to turn into an Archer, but as we'll go into later, that it turns out that she really doesn't benefit from any of the skills in there at all. So it's unfortunate, but it's not that helpful for her. Speed is actually quite excellent. There's really no problems here. Even as a Knight, she should be getting enough speed to get her doubling almost everyone in the game. Luck is kind of bad, and that's one of the reasons why she's not one of the best units in the game, but it's still good enough that she's not going to be like it's not going to be 0, but it's likely not going to be over 20 by the time you get her to level 2020. Defenses are actually quite good at 35% plus 10 at least, so you're going to be getting 45 to 50 defense per level up, and that's better than most characters, especially for a magic using person. Very strange. Resistance is again like what? It's low. That's so weird. She has them backwards. Whatever. Dark mages are weird. Anyway, so resistance kind of low, which is why she needs the Tomebreaker skill, which we'll go into later. Alright guys, so next we're going to look at the classes and skills options for Tharja.
Okay, so now let's take a look at her skills and classes. So she starts as a dark mage, and as you probably know from Henry's guide, dark mage is a good class. Not only do they have access to Nosferatu, the most broken weapon in the entire game, they also have good growths overall, and have the Anathema skill, which is quite good. I've mentioned it before, go look it up if you're not sure what it does. They promote into Sorcerer, which has Vengeance, which is amazing, deals damage equal to half their HP when they activate it, which is times their skill times God dang it. Anyway, you get the idea. They deal extra damage when they're wounded. It's great. And Tomebreaker can be pretty good as well. So you could just easily keep her as a dark mage into a sorcerer and just do nothing else, and you'd be fine. But you know that's not how we roll on this channel. We like to change things up and find the best way through it, not necessarily the easiest way. So her other option as a dark mage is Dark Knight. Now, and again, the name is misleading. They don't actually have access to dark magic. They just have magic and swords. Now, this class is kind of underwhelming for her as she doesn't get her dark magic anymore, and while her strength growth is good enough to use a sword, it's not good enough to use it exclusively, and I don't really see why you'd want this sword in the first place. Anyway, the only real benefit to this class is getting Life Taker, which can be pretty handy sometimes, but when you can just use Nosferatu, I don't really see what the need is. Anyway, so that's kind of useless for her. I'd avoid it. Her other options are Archer, again, god dang, the stupid Archer class, and Knight. Knight is her other option. Now, Archer, as we've mentioned before, has pretty lackluster skills. I mean, Sniper has some decent stuff, like hit plus 20, and, it's okay, but if you're not going to be an Archer in the long run, there's really no use to it. I mean, you're not going to be using him, so just forget about it. But Knight, on the other hand, gives her access to General and Great Knight, two classes with excellent skills. So we'll probably be leaning more towards that side. Now, I feel like I should mention, due to Tharja's low skill growth rate, it is tempting to make her an Archer, and that's what I did in my first playthrough. Now, you may do this. If you're going for a complete maxed out character, it probably would be somewhat efficient to have her turn into an Archer, and then maybe a Sniper for some amount of time, just to get her skill up there, but other than that, I would probably have her stick to the other side of the spectrum, because Archer classes are kind of mediocre. Anyway, so, but General has Pavise and Rally Defense. Pavise halves damage when it activates, which is skill percentage. It halves damage from swords, axes, lances, and beast stones. Very, very helpful. Good stuff. And Rally Defense just increases all your allies within 3 spaces, defense by 4. Great Knight has Luna, another good skill, although admittedly not that super necessary for Tharja, but still, it's pretty decent, as well as Dual Guard Up, which can be very good for her, actually, because she already has good defense growth rates, so having a bonus to it, hey, I mean, why not? So, my recommended build, though, is to get Pavise. So that means turning her into a Knight. Now, I don't know when you want to do this. I would personally suggest leveling her up to like maybe 20 as a Dark Mage to make sure her magic still is pretty high by the end of the game. Turning her into a Knight first, and then promoting her into General, but there's any number of ways you could do this, and it's not really my place to tell you which is the best. Now, I think I'm going to make an amendment. I think my personal way that I would do it is have her go to level 20 Dark Mage, promote into Sorcerer, get Tomebreaker, because that'll help her against all the magic using classes, because she actually doesn't have very good resistance at all. Anyway, get Tomebreaker, change into a General directly from Sorcerer, get Pavise, maybe Rally Defense if you really want it, and then change into a Dark Knight at the end. Why Dark Knight? I was kind of dissing on it earlier. Well, it has good movement, and it lets her use both magic and swords, which, she should have decently. She doesn't have any swords ranked by then, but she will at least have some strength by that point, thanks to the obscene strength bonuses of the general class. So, anyway, basically, my idea is make a character that avoids magic attacks with Tonebreaker and takes almost no damage from physical attacks thanks to Pavise and her insane defense growth. So that plus Vengeance, it's pretty fun. And she has Life Taker as well with that build, which lets her restore any health that she may have lost, which kind of makes up for Nosferatu. Kind of. I still think it's a very viable build to go for, I don't know, General, Great Knight, Sorcerer, but then you'll have crap magic, so I don't know, maybe if you really want to go for a pure magic user, you might want to actually go into Archer first to help her accuracy, and then Archer, Sniper, Sorcerer. That might be the best choice if you're going for a Sorcerer build in the long run. Anyway, those are my 2 cents on Tharja. She's not the best character because she doesn't have the most amazing skill set, but she can be a defensive and offensive powerhouse when you get the right skills. Like I said, let's just look over a quick, brief chart of my thoughts on it and show you my personal recommended route.
Alright, so here we're looking at a graph of Tharja's all classes and stuff. As you can see, her 3 main options are Dark Mage, Knight, Archer, and they promote into each thing. The little gray lines indicate what can be promoted into what. And yeah, I hope you like my little sprites that I gathered from across the entire series. I couldn't actually find the correct Dark Knight sprite, so I'm using a Mage Knight from Fire Emblem 8. Anyway, so the first step you want to take towards my optimum build is start at Dark Mage, then go up into Sorcerer. Make sure to level her up to level 15 as a Sorcerer to get that Tonebreaker, which will be invaluable for her. Then, next step, turn her into a General way on the other side using a second seal after level 10 to get Pavise at level 15. Rally Defense is good as well, but you don't really need it. Just use it until it becomes obsolete. Once you grab that at level 15, head over all the way down back to Dark Knight to get this physical and a magical type of weapon, and as well as giving you the skill Life Taker, which will kind of make up for the Nosferatu, as I said earlier. Anyway, guys, this is the optimum build, leaving you at Dark Knight in the end. Now, remember, there are other builds like going from Sniper to Sorcerer, but this is the best, if you ask me.
Alright, so to look at her supports, basically it boils down to a couple things. It boils down to, well, which male counterpart will give her daughter, Noir, access to Dark Flyer. Now, this is important, as you guys may know, because Dark Flyer has Gale Force skill, which is so broken. I can't even describe to you how broken the skill is. It makes every character 20 times better. So, by that reasoning, it's very important to have your children characters, of all people, have Gale Force, which means that you really need to figure out which partner can give her Dark Gale Force. Now, Tharja herself does not have access to it, so she can't do it. Now you might be thinking, well, wait, what male unit could possibly give her that because they don't have themselves? Certain male units, when they have a child, like Donald, for instance, when they have a female daughter, as opposed to a male daughter, they will pass on Pegasus Knight instead of Fighter. Now, as we've already gone over, Donald will do this, and thus is a good match for Tharja. Another good pairing is Gaius. He does the same thing. Now, I have to say, Gaius has a good, an interesting and entertaining support with Tharja, and Donald does not. It's okay, but it's super not romantic at all. It just feels weird for them to get married at the end. Now, this is just my personal preference, but I recommend Gaius, if anyone, just because he works better. He works just the same as Donald. Now, admittedly, Donald does make an excellent father because he gives aptitude and he gives access to Pegasus Knight. So, there's nothing wrong with choosing Gaius here. I mean, Donald, but Gaius might work a little better. Now, another option, of course, is my unit as a father, because freaking my unit's always great, and that's what I did, and it worked out quite well, in case you can figure it out. I mean, my unit as father always makes it good, because she got Ignis, Vengeance, and eventually, of course, Dark Flyer, so very scary stuff. She was murdering murder tank. Murder. Anyway, it was great. So that's what I have to say about her supports. Donald, Gaius, and my unit are easily the best. Other than that, you don't really need to worry about her supports that much. She doesn't really need the help. She's amazing by herself. Anyway, guys, so let's just wrap up the video now. Thank you guys for watching so much. I appreciate it. If you have any comments, likes, whatevers, leave them in the below. Yeah. And if you want a characters done, a guide of, or if you want me to do videos on a particular video game, I'm starting my gaming stuff back up real soon, like yesterday actually. So if you have anything you want, any requests, leave them below. Otherwise, just leave a like, and I'll see you guys next time.